What's up, everybody? Ron Harris here, MD, online editor. It is Olympia week. I'm stoked. I know a lot of you guys are stoked. Friday night. We're doing this on a Monday. Friday night is the judging for the Mr. Olympia. I'll be getting in there Wednesday. I'll be there for a while. But man, a lot of talk about who might win. Everyone's got their own top five. I've got my top five, and it's not in any particular order, and it's in the thumbnail. I see five men that all have a legitimate chance of winning the Mr. Olympia this year. Of course, Hadi Choopan, the reigning champ, obviously, easy choice. Let's see if I can put that up on the screen with all these guys. Share screen. Yeah, so let's hit play on that. Okay, so yeah, we're sharing. Okay, so yeah, obviously Hadi Choopan, reigning champion, going to come in looking fantastic. He's been in great condition for a long time now. Let me get rid of this thing too. I get rid of all that. So we get to live chat. Get away from the comments. Okay, so we have Derek Lunsford was the runner-up, very close to Hadi last year. They were only 2 points apart after the judging Friday night. Hadi got a couple points more the following night, became the champion. Congrats to him. Samson Dowda we're looking at. Samson, Arnold Classic champ, crazy shape, size, little waist. We see Brandon Curry here, who a lot of people are writing off. A lot of people are not talking about Brandon Curry as a potential winner of this show, which is crazy because Brandon, we know, was Mr. Olympia. He won the Mr. Olympia in 2019, 2020, and 21. He was runner-up 2 years in a row to Big Ramy. And then last year, he dropped down to fourth, and his condition wasn't great. But that just goes to show you Brandon's size and shape, the beauty of his physique was enough that it overcame a little bit of lack of condition, still put him in fourth place in a lineup of, I think we had 32 guys in the show last year. And then, of course, you have Nick Walker, the mutant. Nick, you cannot write this guy off. He was third place last year, and I always say this. If you're third place in the Mr. Olympia, you're good enough to win. It just depends on who shows up, how people peak on that day. Second place to Samson at the Arnold. He was in better condition than Samson. If Samson had been a little more off in his condition, it could have easily gone Nick's way. Very legitimate contender for the title. And I don't see any of these men really dominating as far as here's your clear-cut winner. Nobody else even has a chance. That's sort of the way the mentality was in the years that Ronnie Coleman was Mr. Olympia. Of course, toward the last few years, Jay Cutler was pushing him very hard. That was his greatest competition, greatest rivalry. But prior to that, Dorian had people like Sean Ray, Kevin Levroni, second place to him, Flex Wheeler. But none of them could catch him. He was just dominating. This year, I don't see Hadi as someone that everyone's like, he can't win. He can't win. I never say anybody can't win. And we have 18 guys. It's one of the smaller Olympia lineups. I'm actually pretty excited about that. So here's some guys that I don't see making the top five necessarily. They could make the top five. Actually, I don't want to say they're not going to make top five, but these are guys I don't necessarily see winning the Olympia yet. Maybe in the future. Andrew Jack, for sure, future Mr. Olympia potential. Michael Krizanek, a.k.a. Krizo. Hunter Labrada. Regan, Tonio, Hassan. These guys are all great, and they could all be, I never say someone can't win the Mr. Olympia because Ronnie Coleman was last place in his first Olympia. Jay Cutler was second to last at his first Olympia. These are guys that nobody for a few years was ever thinking, that guy's going to be Mr. Olympia. Then lo and behold, they win. Jay won 4, Ronnie won 8, all-time title tied with, let's go to some questions here. Paul Bartlett. Hey, Ron, is Samson the tallest guy who's a real threat to win? Yeah, and I only say yes because I don't think Andrew Jack is ready to win yet. I don't see this as being his year yet. A little more back, a little more hamstrings, glutes. Yes. Same thing with Krizo, posterior chain. So Samson is about 6 foot even, and Andrew is about 6'2". I don't think there's anyone actually any taller. I think Andrew's the tallest guy in the lineup, which, typically bodybuilders the Mr. Olympia level, but we're going to be between 5'8" and 5'10" on average. You don't see too many guys much taller than that or much shorter than that in the open Mr. Olympia. But yeah, Paul. And Paul, great job on your transformation. Paul put up a cool 2-year transformation on his page the other day on Instagram. Like 60 pounds of muscle. Great job. He eats a lot of steak and rice. Dane says 5'11". Is he 5'11"? I mean, it's all the same from down here. I'm 5'7.5". So these guys are all super tall to me. Paul says, I figure there's going to be some weird height contest. Yeah, I mean, it was last year too, because you had Samson up there last year in the first call out with Hadi and Derek are like, 5'5", 5'6". They're around that height. Brandon Curry, not a whole lot taller. Nick, not a whole lot taller. And you have Samson up here, almost 6 foot. You have Andrews like 6'2". So this is why Krizo is possible top 6. Oh, yeah, I certainly believe Jack and Krizo could and should be top 6. It's just so crowded up there. There's so many great guys. Someone's not going to make top 6. So if we say that these are the top 5 in no particular order, if we say top 5 in no particular order is going to be Hadi, Derek, Samson, Nick, and Brandon, no order. That's 5. So only Krizo or Andrew, if that's the case, could be in the top 6. One of them's going to end up 7th. Recovery going. It's going much better. Yeah, Max. Thank you, C-Max. I'm walking. I will have to have a leg brace on in Orlando, but I can get around. Started a little bit of light leg training the other day, actually, too. Rodolfo, Ron, do you think Derek will beat Samson? Take away Derek's back. Well, you can't take away his back. How and where does he beat Samson? Well, I mean, you can't take someone's best body parts away. That'd be like saying give Samson a big gut, and then how's he going to place? These are their strong points. Derek from the back, he's looking nuts, crazy. That's where I think he was beating Hadi in the back shots last year. He's going to beat him this year in those back shots. It really just it's going to come down to, did Hadi get any better from last year? Did Derek get any better than last year? And which of those two packages? Because I really do believe it's going to come down to Derek and Hadi. I personally would go for Derek, but Hadi, I take nothing away from Hadi Choopan. Incredible bodybuilder, incredible champion. Paul's tall, so he likes to rag on us short guys. It's going to be the short man versus the tall man, I think. Yeah, because you're right. We have Krizo, Samson, and Andrew are all up there. They're all between 5'11" and 6'2". They're all very tall for bodybuilders. And then, you can see Hadi, Brandon, Derek, and Nick. They're all between 5'5" and 5'7", I would say. They're all in that range, so significantly shorter. Here we have, thank you, obrigado. This is our reigning physique Olympia champion, Natalia Coelho. Hope your recovery is going well, Ron. Thank you. Appreciate that, Natalia. Wishing you the best. I can't wait to see women's physique is going to be a battle this year. Definitely, it's going to be a great rematch between former champ Sarah Villegas trying to get her title back from Natalia. Natalia does not want to let go of that title. It's going to go down to the wire. Great rivalry. So Sean Turner has his top 5 here. Hadi, 2, Nick Walker. Oh, you got Nick beating Derek. Interesting. Could happen. Derek, Samson, Curry. Yeah, I mean, if I have Nick as a potential winner, he could beat all these guys. And, I feel that way about Curry, too. I think Curry's being written off, and he's still a fantastic bodybuilder. The people that say Curry has no legs, come on, guys. They're not as freaky as some of the other guys' legs, but they're not that bad. Matt Sweeto, Derek had the best back last year, but he only won the back poses. If Samson comes shredded, Derek cannot match his symmetry and size. Derek has a lack of muscle maturity from the front, especially the chest. Yeah, I agree. That's what I really, I always look at these guys that are damn near perfect, and I see the one aspect. Usually it's only like one thing they really need more or less of to get to that next level and be, nobody's perfect, but closer to perfection for bodybuilding. And with Derek, yeah, last year, this kind of was all smooth. I didn't see a lot of detail here, especially when he's not flexing. When he's just doing the front relaxed, very, very, to me, not a lot of detail and polish in this area. The chest, the front delts, the arms from the front. Legs looked good. But yeah, that's what I want to see more of. And I really hope to see more of that this year. But, Hadi's got all the muscle maturity in the world. He's a very seasoned veteran. Conditioning is never an issue. But you know what? I don't see conditioning being an issue with either Hadi or Derek this year. They have the same coach. The greatest. Oh, did Hadi just win? He's falling down. Yeah. Oh, okay. He's beating the ground. Yeah, he's very happy he won. The Persian Wolf. Yeah. And for those who don't know, because most of you know, but people were saying Hadi's going to have a hard time getting to the U.S. Hadi's been here for like 5 weeks already. His coach and sponsor, Honey Rambod, was not messing around. See what else we got, guys. Breon Ansley. Oh, the Breon Ansley run line is up right now. Top 5 bodybuilder. Yeah, I'm just going to take this away now. I'm just going to take this off for now. Stop screen. Yeah, let's go to the next comment. Paul says again, Derek still looks soft across shoulder and chest and arms. I don't think he'll be able to win against taller guys who don't have that. Well, he beat them all last. He beat guys last year who had that. Krizo, who didn't make top 10 last year. Krizo has crazy separation and detail in the chest, the front delts, the arms. Real nice, deep, clear separations. It's easy to say one guy lacks this quality, another guy has that quality, and that's why this guy should beat that guy. But obviously, if you judged, or if even you've been up there at a show like the Olympia, the Arnold, and really been up close and seen how close these guys are, everyone's got something that someone else doesn't have. And the judges have to sort of figure out who's got the least flaws. It's really not about the most strong points. It's like who's got the best balance, not just physique-wise, but in terms of all those attributes, the qualities they're looking for: size, shape, structure, conditioning, even presentation. If someone's a really awkward poser, at this level, that's going to hurt you because it's so close. These guys are so close. They're all fantastic. These are the best few. It's a handful of the best people, best physiques in the world being up there. So Matt Sweeto again says, Olympia will be a nuclear war. The one will come off, we'll get smashed right away. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm very. So who do you think will be the surprise package Olympia? Well, you don't know because then they wouldn't be a surprise. One guy I'm looking forward to, and only because I don't think he gets, I was even one who said, I don't think he has the size to hang with these guys, but now I'm really wondering, maybe he has enough, and that's Tony O'Burton. Tony O'Burton, I see him making top 10. He's the New York Pro champ. He looks bigger and rounder and fuller. Size-wise, he's not any smaller than, say, Dexter Jackson was in his prime. I don't think. Height and weight are about the same. And Dexter won the Olympia. He won 5 Arnold Classics. So I'm interested to see how he does because, like I said, size-wise, I don't know. When he stands next to these guys who are thicker and taller and bigger, what's that going to look like? But that's my guy. Janet's reminding us the Breon Ansley Ron line report is up. Yeah, because that is up on the channel right now. So if you're done watching me, you're sick of me, just go watch that now or wait till this is over and please watch that. Breon had a lot to say about why he did decide to stay in Classic, how much he felt the extra 7 pounds is going to help him, why he didn't go to 212. And I asked the tough questions because I know Breon never, ever shies away. He's a really good sport with, I don't ask like personal prying questions of anybody, but I do ask some tough questions at times. And he's someone who will never run away. And One Boy 96, is there that much difference watching the live stream, being there in person, especially seeing everyone's conditioning? Yeah, but if you're there in person, you sort of have to be within, I'd say, the first 10 rows to really appreciate the conditioning. If you're further back than that, so at the Olympia, we're really only talking about like the VIP section. The VIP section, then the judges are in back of them. I believe it's the way they structure it. And then the media and special other people, there were a few rows back. If you're not within the first 10, 15 rows, let's leave it at there, you might as well be watching the stream or the screens because you're not going to appreciate that condition. And the reason you see more you appreciate more in person is because it's 3-dimensional. You can have this, what are they at, 8K now? How many Ks are we up to for resolution? I don't know. We have crazy good live streams. Gilco Productions is one that comes to mind as phenomenally crisp and clear images. And they come very, very close, but they still can only broadcast in 2 dimensions, flat. 3D, our eyes do see things differently in 3 dimensions. Someone who's got optical knowledge could probably set me straight on why that is. But yeah, I do see more. Okay, this is okay. I don't know what that means. I guess it's a good thing. Paul says, yeah, but you can't have heavyweights fighting bantamweights. Well, that's the way pro bodybuilding has been for many, many years, Paul. You're a little younger, so you don't, you're significantly younger. You don't remember this, but the 212 class was the 202 before that. For many, many years, you had Olympia stages where the weights could range anywhere from 150 to 250 pounds. And you did have guys, Muhammad Makaway is a good example. I believe he was as high as second. I know he got at least third at the Olympia. Muhammad was originally from Egypt. I believe he moved to Canada. He was 5'3" and all of about 150, 160 pounds. He beat Lee Haney at every show they did in the Grand Prix tour after Lee's first Olympia. Not the first Olympia he won. The first Olympia he entered, 83, where Samir Bannout won. We had plenty of guys that were under 200 pounds that won the Mr. Olympia against much heavier guys. Franco Colombo was about 180 pounds. Samir was about 190, 195 pounds. Frank Zane, between 185 and 190 for his wins. And they were beating much, much heavier guys. And Sean Clarita, another great example. Sean has done a couple open shows now. He's the reigning 212 Olympia champ. A couple of years ago, he went to Legion Sports to try his hand at an open show. And he was 174 pounds. He was even lighter than he had been at the Olympia a week or two earlier. I think it was 2 weeks. And he beat Regan Grimes, who was about 260 on stage. He beat Sergio Oliva Jr., who looked fantastic. It was about 275, 280. So, yeah, I mean, physiques are physiques. I understand it can look weird when you have much shorter, smaller guys. But, think back to like Lee Priest, Momo Benaziza. These guys were much shorter and lighter than a lot of the guys they beat. It's not about what you weigh. It's not the county fair. You're not prize pigs. I like to say that all the time. Dane talking about night and day different. If you can be there, go. I say that all the time. Yeah, I know it's added. It's so much easier to just sit home and get the pay-per-view, which I encourage. If you can't go to the show, get the pay-per-view, absolutely. But if you can go to these shows, especially, there's a lot of pro shows. There's a lot more pro shows now. If there's one in your area you can go to, I really encourage you to check it out. You do see things much better up close in person than you can possibly see on a live stream. It's just cool to be in the atmosphere, hearing the crowd around you, and you can smell the tanning oil and the bright lights, and the speakers are blasting out eardrums. It's a whole experience that you can't get watching at home on your TV or computer. Paul said it leaves too much subjectivity. Yeah, I say it all the time. This is a very subjective sport. It's judged subjectively, just like a beauty pageant. I often call it a beauty pageant with muscles. That doesn't sound derogatory to me, because it's not a sport where it's who crosses the finish line first, who gets the best time on the 100-meter dash, who gets more goals in the end zone, who gets more balls in the basket, so on, goals in the soccer net, over and over again. You understand what I mean? Those, obviously, you do have referees and judges in those sports, referees, I guess, who can make bad calls, but bodybuilding is purely subjective. It's purely subjective. There's nothing athletic being done on stage. You're looking at physiques that are the product of many, many years of hard training, good eating, some PED use in there too. But it's judging based on what they see in front of them, not on what's happening or anything like that. No performance. So yeah, it's totally subjective, which is why when you get to the Olympia level, especially, you're going to have top 6 guys are all going to look fantastic. They're all on their own. They all look like Mr. Olympia. Like, that guy should be Mr. Olympia, but you can't have 6 Mr. Olympia champions in 1 year. You can only have 1. So that means a lot of the fans of all the other guys are going to be really upset, because, Nick Walker has a lot of fans who believe he should be Mr. Olympia. He deserves it. He looks better than all these guys. Hadi fans feel the same way. Samson fans feel that way. Derek fans, Curry fans, Krizo fans, on and on down the line. And, they're not wrong. They're not wrong, because to them, that's the ideal physique, because you can have it in your head that we can all have our priorities. Some of you might prioritize shape and prefer better shape versus someone who has, a wider, thicker waistline, or, not as pretty a shape. Some of you will favor more conditioning. We all have our own preferences, and the judges have a really, really hard task. They have to do their best to be as fair and impartial as possible, try to stick to the criteria of the best overall package, where no one criteria takes much precedence over there. Like, the biggest guy doesn't necessarily win. The most ripped guy doesn't necessarily win. The guy with the best shape doesn't necessarily win, so on and so on. It's the person who combines all those qualities the best in one physique. And that's obviously, as it sounds complicated, it is complicated. Matt Sweeter, do you think Samson could have an Akeem William problem because of his dark skin that will not allow the details? It didn't stop him from winning the Arnold. It is tough. When someone has a very dark complexion, a dark tone to the skin, it is a little tougher to see the fine details. Like, lighter skinned African Americans like Phil Heath, that's probably the perfect shade to really highlight, showcase, display all those split striations. With Phil, you could see every little muscle fiber. With someone that's super dark, skinned, it's tougher. It's definitely tougher. I don't know. I hope that doesn't, because that would be some bullshit. I remember it was one of the Arnold's controversial wins. Everyone talks about Sydney, Australia, 1980, but there was another very controversial win. Arnold beat Sergio Oliva in 1972 in, is it Munich or Essen? It was in Germany. I think it was in Munich. And the judges were having a really hard time because Sergio had been training in Florida with Arthur Jones, best he ever looked. I think he just needed someone to push him and do a different training style. It made a difference for him. And he could have won that show. And in the end, I don't know who the judge explained this to, but I know it was told that the reason he lost, it was explained, was because his skin was too dark and the black backdrop was obviously black, and it was hard to see his physique against. I know how lame is that, but that's the excuse the judges gave, or the explanation they gave, I should say, as to why Sergio lost to Arnold that year, because Arnold was much lighter and he popped against the black background, whereas Sergio sort of blended in, that's some baby back bullshit. Arnold says, "I'll still smash the whole lineup. I'll be back." Yeah. I don't know. I think people have done sort of like AI mock-ups or Photoshop mock-ups of what Arnold would look like if he was competing today. I think some of them have done it in like a joking way, like they gave him a big bubble gut and synthol arms. But I think some people have tried to sort of extrapolate how Arnold would look, because he would look different if he was competing today. He would have to match the standards that we have today, with bigger legs, thicker back, just more mass overall, more definition. Yeah, because nobody back in Arnold's heyday, late 60s through the mid 70s, nobody was trying to have giant legs. They thought that looked stupid. It really wasn't until the 80s, I'd say like midway through the 80s, that big legs, really big legs, started to become something everyone was trying to get. And that was basically because Tom Platt set a whole new standard that everyone was like, oh, wow, so we could have legs like that? They weren't trying to get these gigantic tree trunk legs. Right? Can you make my voice impression? Now my Arnold is, get to the chopper, get to the chopper. I'm sure you do it better. Everyone's got an Arnold. I don't do it that great. Paul Bartlett. Samson wins, maybe. Walker places second and third at the same time. Oh, at the same time, Hadi is third. I thought you said Nick was going to be second and third. Mark my words, Ronald. I wouldn't be overly, like I said, that top five that I have in the thumbnail, I could see that going any way, and I wouldn't be like overly shocked. I would be like, oh my God, Brandon won. Oh my God, Nick won. It'd be a shock, because anytime the reigning champ doesn't keep his title, that's sort of a shock, because we have a long history at the Olympia over the, how many years? Almost 60 years. What is that, 57th Olympia we've had? It started in 65. So what are we up to, like the 57th or 58th? Yeah, historically, the reigning champ, we usually repeat. A lot of times, many times over the years, they really didn't deserve to repeat, but they kept the title, because there's that old cliche, you got to knock out the champ, which is ridiculous. This isn't boxing and no one's getting knocked out. Jen says, hi, everybody. Hey, Jen. Jen, Jen and I and the whole MD team, we're going to be working very hard this coming weekend. Very hard. Alberto Montejo, judge what's in front of them, and no one has those qualities anymore, but they're larger. Yeah, I mean, the Arnold days, Arnold was the best of his era. He fit the standards they were looking for. He set the standard. Today, we have very different standards. I mean, if you go back through the years, Mr. Olympia physique has evolved. It did sort of go back in the Zane era. For a few years, we had a bunch of guys. We had Frank Zane for 77, 78, 79 with Mr. Olympia, under 200 pounds, much slimmer look. Arnold went in 80, and he was actually downsized that year. He was smaller than normal. 81 was Franco, again, like 180, 185 pounds. 82, Chris Dickerson. I don't think Chris was ever more than 185, 190 pounds. And then Samir Bannout, again, under 200 pounds. Then after that, we began the era of much bigger men. Lee Haney, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Phil Heath, much, much bigger, thicker guys. Pro tip from Dave: buy binoculars if you're further back. Yeah, I'd rather use binoculars at a show if I was further back, and at least I'm seeing the actual image rather than, these Dan Solomon and the Olympia production. They do an amazing job. They have these screens that are just enormous. Like each one's bigger than the size of like an IMAX screen, but there's like 4 of them in a row, and they're showing what's going on stage. So no matter where you are in the auditorium, and it's broadcasting what they're seeing on the stream, the live stream, the pay-per-view. So you're getting, no matter where you're sitting, you're seeing that. But I agree. I'd rather bring binoculars or opera glasses, whatever you want to call them, and see it live through my own eyes. Good picks, Paul. Yeah. 8K from Gil. Oh, they have 8K? Yeah. Is 8K a thing? It must be. Nick Walker for the win. Dude's the most insane. Yeah, see? You're entitled to that opinion, but the Hadi fans, they think you're on crack. They're entitled to their opinion. I've noticed out of these guys, I'd say the Hadi fans and the Nick fans are the most convinced that their guy should win and will win. They're the most faithful. I'm not really sure what word I'm looking for here, but they're definitely very, very supportive, and they really believe in their guy, and that's cool. It's great that we have fans that are that supportive. It really is. Natsuyo, until he gets more sweep on his legs, Neil Walker will never win the Mr. Olympia. Genetic is first. Yeah, I mean, Nick's shape is really the only thing I see that holds him back. It's his shape and his structure. But, we've had guys like Jay Cutler didn't have the prettiest shape and structure either. He won it 4 times. So I never say someone's never going to win the Olympia until they get this or that, because you don't know. It always comes down to who shows up, what they look like that day. DJ Leader, Samson for the win. And we have Samson right here, not that Samson. Since Chris has been looking so large, I wonder if he was going to do Classic and Open this year at the Olympia. They can't do that. No, they would never allow that. Yeah, I mean, guys, there's like this widespread misconception that people can enter multiple divisions. You can only pick one division per year, and if Chris Bumstead wanted to do the Open, he would either have to win an Open show, or he would have to ask for a special invitation to not compete in the Classic, but to do the Mr. Olympia. Like what Breon Ansley was thinking hard about doing that a few months ago. He was going to ask for a special invitation to compete in the 212 Olympia. He's a former 2-time Classic Physique Olympia champion. Interview up on this channel right now that we did a few days ago. But no, Bumstead, nobody can do 2 Olympia divisions in the same year. You got to pick one. And if you're not qualified by winning a show in that division, you would have to get a special invitation. And I'm not saying they would give it to Bumstead in a heartbeat if you wanted it. There's no question. Good food, good mood. Nick should win, but they won't ever give it to him. His shape is not as bad as it makes it. Yeah, well, why don't you think they would give it to him? I mean, he's tremendously popular, well-spoken. I don't think anyone has anything against. I don't think the powers that be, the judges, I don't think any of them have anything against Nick or any of these guys. I mean, they all do what they're supposed to do. They show up in shape. Nick has competed in multiple. He went to the Arnold Classic, which he didn't have to do. He's won that. I don't see any reason why they would have anything personally against him. His shape isn't bad. It's just not as good as some of the other guys. Like when we get to this level, when we say like somebody has no legs, maybe they have like 28-inch thighs and someone else has 30-inch thighs, but you're saying the guy with 28-inch thighs has no legs. It's not that it's not that simple, guys. All right, it says, honestly see Hadi repeating again this year if he has a size from last year. Well, he will. Trademark conditioning comes like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't see him looking any worse. In fact, I bet he looks better this year because his condition was really good last year. I've seen him better. And, Giles and Milos, when they were on Global Muscle talking, Milos was a guest, and they both agreed that last year's Olympia was the worst condition they've ever seen Hadi in, ever. And that sounds awful. Like, what are you talking about? Well, Hadi has set a standard that is so high, just kind of like Dexter Jackson used to do, that if he's a little bit off that conditioning, even if he's still in crazy condition compared to most of the other guys in the lineup, he's off his best conditioning. So he should be improved from, Hadi takes notes, his coach, on what works, what doesn't work, and he's closely monitoring him and the depletion, the load, every little phase. So I think we're going to see him looking fantastic. Jen saying hi to Natalia. Go get the second title. Flavio versus Luz, the DJ Leader. So yeah, I want to actually find that. Hang on. I want to find that. I think that was hilarious. Ooh, Ferrigno. I want to show this to you guys. This was from the 1993 Olympia. Ferrigno wrong. So at the 1993 Olympia, Flavio Bacchini. Let's find it. I want to show you this, guys. This was epic. 1991 Olympia. 1983 Olympia. Pakistani Fitness Channel. Oh, boy. Okay, so... All right, I'm gonna back it up. Okay, so let's present this one. Share screen. Share screen. Okay. All right, so here we go. So this is 1993. Flavio was 4'10". He's from Italy. Lou Ferrigno, 6'5", I believe he was billed at. At this show, he claimed to be 316 pounds, and I believe it. I mean, he's 6'5". Yeah, Lou, that was the biggest. Flavio, 4'10", about 140 pounds, 130 to 140 pounds, somewhere in that range. So literally, Lou was almost 3 times bigger than he was. Is that it? Oh, so this was the pose down. You see Lou having fun with Flavio. Flavio's going along with it. But that was the most epic David and Goliath comparison I think I've ever seen in my life. That was Mauro Sarni from Italy next to him. You can see Milos in back there. Yeah, look at Milos. The late Mike Matarazzo in back of Flavio. Yeah, Flavio had look at that, tremendous physique, crazy condition. And Lou, man, to me, this is the best Lou Ferrigno ever looked as a bodybuilder. He had come back. His comeback had been in 1992 after 17 years away from the sport while he was busy doing Incredible Hulk TV show and TV movies. So 92, he came back at the Helsinki, Finland, which was Dorian's first win. 93, this was the next year. This was the next year. And after this, they brought back the Masters Olympia. But I still think this was the best Ferrigno ever looked. And yeah, this was epic. Panada Sports still sponsoring these shows. 20 years. This was 20 years ago. Wait, what am I talking about? This is 30 years ago. Jeez, time flies. 30 years ago, I was there. This was in Atlanta. Top 2 at this show were Flex Wheeler and Dorian Yates. I'm sorry. Dorian was first. Flex was second. This was Flex's big breakout year. The year Flex won his the Ironman, the Arnold Classic, and then 3 more Grand Prix shows in Europe. And yeah, let's get out of that. Stop screen. Okay. Yeah, I thought you guys would enjoy that one. Because not everyone's seen that. Yeah, so Jen's reminding us Wednesday, an all-new Global Muscle and Buff Bombshell. Yeah, so great programming. And then Thursday evening, guys, Eastern time, 8 o'clock, we're going to start doing live interviews right here on this channel. Myself and Jose Raymond at the Meet the Olympians. That is where all the competing athletes are in this giant room. The fans have opportunity to meet them, take pictures, buy their merchandise, get things signed like magazines. Yeah, magazines. We have magazines. Shirts, things like that. We're going to be doing all that live, and Jose's going to be doing most of the interviews. I feel like I really would love to sort of just manipulate the camera phone and let him do it, because I think he's an amazing on-air personality, Jose. We're doing all the wrap-ups on Friday and Saturday as well after judging Friday and Friday evening, judging in finals, because they're going to do finals for a bunch of divisions, and then judging for the Mr. Olympia. That's Friday night, and then Saturday is judging for the remainder of divisions and finals for everything, including the Mr. Olympia, Saturday night. If you guys want Olympia information, it's MrOlympia.com. MrOlympia.com. Pay-per-views on there. Tickets. I don't know if there's any tickets left, but all the scheduling, everything you want to know, it's on there. Check, man. Sean is a freight train, a bodybuilder's nightmare. Talking about Sean Clarita. I assume you're spelling it the way Sean spells it. Yeah, he's going to be very, very tough to beat. Very, very tough to beat. Ron Giles. Oh, okay. What do you think Sergio Oliva Jr. would place in this lineup? I don't know, but he needs to get on the Olympia stage again. I believe he did it once. Did he do it once? 2020? I mean, he's only done one Olympia. And, time's ticking away. He's in his late 30s now. He really should. Where would he place this year? I don't know. He did that Cal Pro and he looked awful because he had just come off a plane. He was holding all kinds of water. At his best, I think he's definitely top 10. Definitely a top 10 guy. Beyond that, I don't know. I've not seen him next to any of these guys, really, these top guys. And you want to beat the best. That's who you got to compare yourself to. So a lot of times when these guys win shows or qualify, typically they're in a lineup that doesn't have any other Olympia level competitors. Or when I say Olympia level, I mean guys who have made top 15. Because I've done that before and someone says, hey, so-and-so was in the Olympia. I'm like, well, if you're tied for 15th with 12 other guys or 15 other guys, yeah, you made the Olympia and that's great, but you're not like a legitimate contender for the title or anything. If you didn't, that means you're like third call out, fourth call out. Branch, what's up? Want to say hi? Branch. Everyone loves Branch. Come here, Papa. Get up. Up. Oh. Branch the pit bull. It's actually a pit bull Labrador retriever. What a good boy. He loves his dad. You gonna miss me, Dad? You gonna miss me when I'm gone? Yeah. Can you look at the camera? No. Look over there. No. Anyway, all right, get down, Papa. Yeah. So Brett Wilkins is the next one. Brett Wilkins and Nathan Nash will be missing. Yeah, they're missing, and we're also, as far as guys who were qualified, Kamal Algarni was qualified by virtue of winning the Masters Olympia. He's not going. Who else did we lose? A couple guys bowed out. Oh, well, I guess I don't have my list because they already bowed out of the show. What's this? Giles Hader. Oh, these are new hashtags or something? I don't know. Which one's putting up? Ron Harris is a beauty pageant with muscles. It is a beauty. I don't know if you're saying I'm a beauty pageant with muscles, Paul. Probably not. No, I say that all the time. I refer to bodybuilding as a beauty pageant with muscles. And I don't think that that's a derogatory thing or insulting the sport because it is judged like a beauty pageant, the beauty of the physique. But we're looking at, muscular bodies, and we're trying to decide which muscular body deserves to win and then who deserves second, third, fourth, fifth. And it's tough. It's the judges have to decide. They're looking, this guy looks better than that guy. This girl looks better than that girl based on a bunch of different criteria. So it is judged like a pageant. Sean Turner, get the likes up, smash the likes. Yeah, and if you're not watching this live, guys, leave some comments below. I answer all of them. Paul Barr, trust me, Samson will win. Nick will be second, Hadi third. As soon as there's a God above, I believe there is a God above, Paul. I don't think this is all random chaos. I don't think so. I do believe there's a higher power of God. I'd be very happy for Samson to win. I think it'd be good for Samson. I think it'd be great for the sport because he does represent that new type of physique that's beautiful. It's got great, beautiful shape, symmetry, shape, proportion, little tiny waist, but plenty of size. He's 300 pounds on stage. You can never call a guy who's 300 pounds lean small. And he's got a waist like a 200 pound guy. That's crazy. His waist is like 30 inches, 31 inches. For a guy who's almost 6 foot and 300 pounds, that's insane. That's insane. So I'd be very happy for Samson if you won. I'd be happy for any of these guys if they win. They all work very, very hard. This is a tough sport. Not a lot of financial rewards in the actual competitive aspect of it, except for a couple guys. If you're winning the Arnold or in the Olympia, you're doing okay. Everyone else, you sort of have to have a lot of other things going on. Sean Turner, thank you for supporting it. Oh, thank you, Sean. Oh, I didn't know what that meant, that thing that he did, but thank you. Thank you, Sean. Notorious Devourer, Sims doesn't have to be Hadi condition to win. Just needs to improve from Arnold Classic. 5% better, you'd be battling for a title. 10% better, you'd probably win. Yeah, I agree. I mean, he doesn't need to necessarily beat Hadi or Derek on condition if he has other attributes that they don't have. If his condition is a little bit worse than theirs, but he has better shape, better structure, just better flow and harmony to the physique, he could get it. It's up to the judges. It's up to what they're looking at in front of them. How would I know Chris Aceto's pick for the win, Alberto? Chris does nothing with this channel. He's Dave's friend, so he doesn't do anything with us. Acito is Andrew. Oh, his guy winning? Okay, well. Stranger things have happened. And as his coach, he should have full confidence in his client. I don't see Andrew winning this year. At his best, definitely he could get top 5, definitely. Maybe as high as third. I don't see him winning. But you know what? I'm not going to say it's impossible. I would never say that. It could happen. Stranger things have happened. Because Arnold commits Sergio, not his best poses. Jen says, I believe it will be Derek. That's my feeling too, Jen. And, I like Derek a lot. Maybe I'm a little biased. I've known him since the USA that he won back in 2017. I like him a lot. Strong morals, values. I know that doesn't have anything to do with the physique you're looking at. I like him a lot. I'd be very happy. I know Hadi's a very hardworking guy too. Family man, runs a gym back in Iran, and hearing impaired, has to struggle with the language barrier. He's got a lot of obstacles he's had to overcome in his bodybuilding career too. All right. Back in the days, the Olympia judging was pretty iffy to say the least. I mean, I get heat. I get heat for this when I say it, but Mr. Olympia judging, anybody who complains about the judging now, I tell them you really should have been around years ago, especially like in the years before, even before I was following it. So I started following the Mr. Olympia around in the late 80s. I saw even Lee Haney win at least one Olympia he shouldn't have won, maybe two. The year they drug tested it, 89, Lee Labrada was better than him. Lee was way off. Condition was off. Labrada should have beat him there. 90 in Rimini, I think was it Labrada again? 90 in Rimini, Italy, Haney was off again. 91, he looked awesome. Beat Dorian Yates, and he deserved it. I thought it was close, but he definitely deserved the win. So Lee Haney had some wins. Dorian had a couple wins that were very, very iffy, where he wasn't at his best. But if you go back further, Arnold had a couple wins he probably shouldn't have had. Who do we go back to it for? Franco Colombo, the first win he had in 1980. Sorry, the second win he had, 81, was very, very controversial. Looking at the pictures, because I had these old magazines I put in storage, but I had one it was an old Muscle Mag International with a full photo report of the 1981 Olympia. It was like 20 pages of just photos with some captions, but you really got a great way to compare everybody. I had Franco like fifth that year. I thought Platz looked better. I thought Zane looked better. Danny Padilla. I mean, it was a very, very sus, as you young people say, very sus win. So yeah, the Olympia has had in the past some really poor decisions. I believe they were not the right guy didn't win. Even more recently, 2007, a lot of people thought Victor Martinez hands down beat Jay Cutler that year, didn't get the win. A lot of people thought Phil Heath last year that he was runner up to Jay, that he should have beat Jay that year. It goes on and on and on. There have been some iffy ones, but recent years, I don't think we've seen too many controversial wins where people were like really, really upset. I think the judging has become much, much more fair and impartial. I don't think business interests and marketability play any near the role that they used to. Politics is the catch-all term for judges being influenced by things other than the physique they're looking at. There were a lot of political decisions back in the day based on various factors, and I don't see that happening anymore. I don't. Jen reminds us, Nick's Strength and Power asked Al to come up with a story. Oh, asked AI to come up with a story about Arnold competing at the Olympia and winning. It was cute. Oh, I got to check that out. Yeah, Nick's Strength and Power. Nick does a great job with all those videos. Emperor himself, you gave your predictions already. I didn't really make any predictions. We did a preview show, Giles and I, that's out on this channel now. My predictions, the way I think it's going to go, if everyone's at their very best, I go Derek, Hadi, Samson, Nick, Brandon. That's my top five. You guys can all have your own top five. You can have guys that are none of those people. You can make your own top five out of, Theo Leguerre, Phil Clahar, Roman Fritz, Andrea Presti, Charles Griffin, Ross Flanagan, Justin Shire. Guys who no one else is really talking about as top five, but you can have them in your top five. You can have anyone you want. It's your top five. It's no sleep till December. Yeah, because we have a bunch of shows right after that. So the Olympia, if you guys realize, the Olympia is this weekend, and then we have 3 more shows in a row right after that. Next Saturday after that is the Romania Muscle Fest. So another Olympia qualifier, which obviously would be for next year's Olympia. Weekend after that, Prague, Czech Republic, EVLS Prague Pro. That's the 18th. And then the Japan Pro on the 25th. So 3 pro shows in November that are all qualifiers. We're going to get 3 people by the end of the month. So top 3 at the Mr. Olympia are going to qualify automatically. So by the end of November, assuming none of those 3 guys do those shows and win, we're going to have 6 people already qualified for the 2024 Mr. Olympia by the end of November. That's pretty amazing. It's not even 2024 yet. Mason says, Nick, Derek, Samson, Hadi, Andrew. Who's the new Paul Dillette? Oh, is Andrew the new Paul Dillette? He's got some crying emojis. I was like, who's the new Paul Dillette? Is that some guy I'm not aware of? Please, to whatever extent you can provide expertise, why the top guys have different quality of the muscles pressed against the skin. So genetically, Paul, these guys are the genetic creme de la creme, the cream of the crop. They have all these attributes you could ever possibly want. They have long muscle bellies. They have small joints. They have ideal bone structures with the wide clavicles and narrow hips, arms and legs that aren't too short or too long, torso's not too short or too long, and even the thin skin, that's a genetic thing. Some people do genetically have thicker skin. We call it seal skin. Like I've speculated that some guys like Akim Williams have thicker skin because you can never see really those fine little fibers. Whereas think about like Phil Heath in condition, super thin skin. You could see every little fiber. Same thing with Hadi, very, very thin skin. I don't think they do anything special gear-wise or anything else to make their skin any thinner. That's just the way they were born. It's kind of like vascularity, which is not really something that factors in the judging at all. Fans go goo-goo over all the big veins, but vascularity is a very genetic thing. You'll see some people have a ton of veins that are right up against the edge of the skin. Then other people, you don't see that many veins. Like Flex Wheeler, as lean as he ever got, you never saw a bunch of veins on Flex. Go look at the picture if you remember. Whereas you have other guys who could be way off. They could be, still like, I've seen guys who are like 10% body fat in the 10 to 15% range of body fat. You can barely see the blurry abs, blurry muscle separations, but they have these big veins that are real close to the surface. So you can still see like they'll hit the most muscular. You don't see any muscle separation or striations, but you see a million veins. So that's a genetic thing. He says, I know the KKK thing is a Brazilian because Miguel Chain told me that's a Brazilian way of doing like LOL, but I don't know what. Oh, that's Brazil. BR is Brazil. Yeah, Brazil's got some amazing athletes for sure. Built to laugh. All they got on Andrew Jack is a thicker waist, some hamstrings. Other than that, Andrew Jack can win it all. So can Brandon, folks. Yeah, I mean, it's insane to me that so many people write Brandon Curry off like he's never going to win Mr. Olympia again. I don't see if his physique had gone downhill, if he had like torn muscles or, like he was losing, like his lats had retracted up, as we've seen with a couple guys. Brandon's physique is still as good as it ever was. He still has all the tools to be Mr. Olympia again. And he's been Mr. Olympia, and he's been runner-up at the Olympia twice. So don't write him off. Write him off at your own peril, I should say. If you're gambling people, at least you're way too high on Nick. Yeah, Nick's got some dedicated fans. Right here, Mr. Olympia preview. Or she's got the link right there. If you guys are too lazy to click the muscular development channel thing on the bottom there and just takes you right to it. But yeah, we did a great classic physique and 212 preview. Myself and Jose Raymond. If you haven't seen that, please check that out. Nick or Derek wins. Yeah, because Nick or Derek wins. I mean, what about Samson? What about Hadi? What about Brandon? Yeah, but you're all entitled to your opinions, guys. There's no right or wrong answers here. And this Wednesday, the Olympia women's preview on all new Buff Bombshell. Yeah, because Lauren Lauder, she's done with her exams. She took this advanced accounting certificate exam or something, and she's back. That is Giles Thomas's partner, and she does the Buff Bombshell show, which does a tremendous job of covering the women's divisions, which I do a piss poor job of. I'm just not as up on all the competitors and divisions. To be honest with you guys, there's really only 3 divisions I follow closely. Open bodybuilding, obviously, classic physique, and 212. After that, I know who all the top players are in the divisions, but I don't really follow. There are 10 divisions. 10, that's a lot. If you're keeping up with all 10 divisions, God bless you, because that's hundreds and hundreds of athletes and dozens of contests a year you need to really keep track of if you want to know who all these players are in the divisions. Special issue of MD Global Muscle. It is special. Yeah, what's today, Monday? Yeah, tomorrow's Halloween, guys. Bill to laugh. Yep, Hadi and Nick fans are extreme but supportive. So nice, but I'm a realist. Yeah, the Hadi fans, this is nothing against Hadi because he can't control what his fans do, but it still bothers me that years ago there was a post-Olympia show where Flex Lewis did it. I think it was Korea. Korea or Japan. I want to say it was Korea. Flex beat Hadi, and a lot of people thought Hadi should have won. And some of the Hadi fans actually made like death threats to Flex Lewis and his family, that's just reprehensible. Nobody should be doing that. You know, the athletes don't pick the scores, the judges do, but shouldn't go after the judges either. I mean, it's nobody should be getting death threats. Put it that way. Nobody should be taking it that deadly serious. It's not life or death. Yes, Branch, you need something? What's up, Bubbles? I can hear Branch. I'll let you out in a little bit, Bubbles. I'm an Andrew fan, but believe he won't win this year realistically. Yeah, I totally see his potential. And I know he's like pushing 40, but he's still very young in the sport. He's only been competing. Last year was his first pro season, 2022. He started off 2022 as an amateur, won the Arnold Amateur in March and turned pro. Then he won the Texas Pro, the Arnold UK, placed at the Olympia. Even though he was sick, he still managed. What was he, 7th last year? No, he was 8th. Yeah, he was 8th place last year, but he was like ill. I think it was COVID. He was not feeling well. I saw him at the meet and greet the night before. I was like, oh boy. He was like, sounded like he was hacking up a lung when he coughed. Derek going to surprise a lot this year. I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised. Agreed, Tech Venom. Yeah, I mean, it's always a surprise when there's a new champion, but I would not be the least bit surprised if Derek won. You know, he almost won. He came very close to Hadi last year. Hadi beat him, but it wasn't a landslide. It was not domination. You know, Derek from the back, structurally, he's got a better structure with a better X frame. You know, Hadi obviously has things that Derek doesn't have and vice versa. But they were the two best in the world last year. Too perfect to win. He's not too perfect to win. He's not too perfect. There's no such thing as too perfect to win. Nobody has hundreds of flaws. Built to laugh, you are really exaggerating, but that's fine. How's your leg going? I'm healing well. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, I'll be in a leg brace at the Olympia, but I'll be moving around. If I have to look into getting a Segway or something, I'll get one, but I think I'm going to be okay. Jen is reminding us tons of articles. Yeah, we've been putting out on the website, musculardevelopment.com, all kinds of, it's the Olympia lead up, predictions, previews, training articles with these guys, all kinds of great content. Please check that out. Very competitive this year on the most amount. Yeah, Olympia is always competitive, but this is a really good year. Sherry, I did not talk about Oksana. I'm not talking about any of the females because we have Wednesday is going to be a whole special women's division preview, special edition of Buff Bombshell, hosted by Lauren Lauder. She's over in the UK. She's there with Giles, and they both put out great content out of that studio there they have, Tiger Towers. Yeah. So that is going to be Wednesday afternoon. You'll see a preview of the women's divisions, Oksana, all the women, fitness, figure, women's physique, women's bodybuilding, wellness. It's all going to be covered. Did I say bikini? Paul Bikini is no path to victory for Derek. I don't know, Paul. He was only a few points away from winning last year. So for you to write him off, I wouldn't write him off that easily, man. Don't do it. We will on Wednesday, yeah. Samson will become Mr. Olympia. You've said that, and I'd be very happy for Samson. I like Samson a lot. Selfishly, Samson always gives me and Giles interviews, so I appreciate that. Some of these guys are hard to get interviews with, especially close to the show, and I understand that. Watch him win, yeah. Oh, who's Tech Venom thinks going to win? Oh, Derek. Alberto Montejo, 5'10" is not tall. 6 foot and over is tall. It will never happen after Arnold. Well, I mean, tall relative to bodybuilding. No, it's not tall in like the real world. A 5'10" guy is not considered tall. But in a sport where I'd say the majority of male competitive bodybuilders, this is all the way from local shows to the Mr. Olympia. I think the average height for bodybuilders who compete is between 5'6" and 5'9". That's most guys. Most guys are in that height range. You have some shorter, you have some tall, but most of them are there in that average range for bodybuilders. So anything above that is tall for a bodybuilder, taller than average. But no, tall, compared to like hockey, football, especially basketball. our tallest bodybuilder would be one of the shortest guys in basketball, right? I tag team match between Samson, Nick versus Hadi and Derek. Ramondino or Urs? Neither. Chris Bumstead. Oh, you don't like that, do you, Mason? Sorry, dude. Who's going to beat who? Interesting to see because Urs has put on some really good size. Ramon, to me, in his updates, he looks great. I'm a big fan of Ramon and his physique, but I don't see a whole lot of improvement. Urs looks bigger because Ramon, everybody got more weight. The Classic got more weight added to their what they had to make before for weight. But Ramon was already at his weight. He was struggling to make weight last year, whereas Urs, I don't think he was even at his weight. I know the year before that, he was like 10 pounds under the weight limit. He still had a lot of room to grow, and now he's got more room. He was 270 in pretty good condition earlier this season. I guess he has to get down to 220. So I expect to see him at 220, which I think the first show I saw him win, Tampa, he was like 209, 210. So 10 pounds makes a really big difference. So interesting to see. It's going to be, Classic's going to be a battle too, guys. That's a huge difference. Yeah. Rabid fans. That's the word you're looking for. Rabid. Yeah, like they're a rabid dog. Well, they're passionate. Passionate would be the nicer way to say it, right? Instead of rabid. It's like we say, obsession is a word the lazy describe to use the dedicated. I'm all over the place. When people say well, we're obsessed, we bodybuilders, you're obsessed with going to the gym, you're obsessed with eating. My comeback is, and I don't know who came up with this. I didn't. It's obsessed is a phrase the lazy use to describe the dedicated. So you can steal that the way I stole it. Jen says, Panada still sponsoring today. In fact, we've got some great Panada shorts coming up. Yeah, so check this channel, guys. A lot of content this week on this channel. Check it out. Put your notifications on. Live interviews all weekend. Oh, yeah. So we're doing live interviews all Thursday night at the meet and greet. We'll be doing more interviews throughout the weekend, but that's our night. We're just doing interviews, Jose and myself, at the Meet the Olympians. Friday, we'll be doing wrap-ups. You can check the schedule at MrOlympia.com, but look at my old school, man. I'm so old. I write things on manila folders. Friday, the schedule as follows. They're doing judging at 9:30 for women's fitness, 212 figure, women's physique, Ms. Olympia, and wellness. That's a lot of divisions to get through. Then they do finals at 6 o'clock that night, Friday night, for all those divisions, plus judging for the Mr. Olympia. It's going to be a long night. I hope it doesn't go till 1 in the morning like it did last year. Saturday, 9:30, judging for classic physique, men's physique, bikini, and wheelchair. They also do the wheelchair finals. They do it all in one shot. That's why typically we're there from 9 to get your seats. Wheelchair is the last thing. It usually doesn't wrap up till 3 in the afternoon because they do the finals too. And then 7 p.m. Saturday night, the finals for all those. Mr. Olympia, well, the wheelchair is done, so it's going to be bikini, Mr. Olympia, and men's physique. Oh, classic too. What am I saying? Ron, why didn't you write classic down? Yeah, so classic finals will be Saturday night as well. Almost done. Mark Lunsford will win. Hadi second. I believe Samson will come in too heavy. If he's in shape, he's first. Yeah, I have this top two as being Lunsford and Hadi. That's what I think is going to happen, but I could be wrong. Any of us making these predictions, obviously only a couple of us are going to be right. Everyone else is going to be wrong. Built to laugh. All these female classes, man. Well, there's a lot of, they have so many divisions. Men, we only have men's physique, classic physique, 212, and open. That's 4. We have 4 men's divisions. Women, are you ready? We got bikini, fitness, figure, women's physique, wellness, women's bodybuilding. 6 women's divisions. Wow, that's a lot of divisions. Yeah, Jen is putting a link up there, but it's MrOlympia.com, has all the info, lists of the competitors, all that good stuff. Built to laugh. Hope it's not as crazy as last year. I was on Eastern time. I had to wait until 1 a.m. Yeah, that's bad. I mean, was in Orlando? I was in Vegas last year. So I was in Pacific. So 1 a.m. over in Vegas was for all of us here on the East Coast or Eastern time, standard time zone. That was 4 a.m. it wrapped up, the judging. 4 a.m. Who's going to stay up? You got to be a super fan to stay up till 4 a.m. And if you're in Europe, my goodness. So like Giles and those of you in the UK, that's 5 hours ahead. It was 9 a.m. that the judging wrapped up. They've been watching it all night. And then, more the further east you go into Europe, the times it gets, Italy is now you're into like 6 hours ahead. It gets worse and worse. Females should be on a separate date or earlier, man. Too painful except for women classic, which is cool. They don't have a women classic. Which one do you mean? You mean like women's physique? Years when I started working in the sport in 1991, and it had been this way for a while. The Miss Olympia and the Mr. Olympia were the only two big shows because there was only two divisions, right? There was women's bodybuilding and men's bodybuilding. So from the very beginning, Miss Olympia was always held on its own, different city, different venue, and it would sell out. They sold out big venues for the Miss Olympia. And Mr. Olympia, same thing. It'd be different month or whatever, different city, different part of the country, maybe in a different country. Because back then they used to go to Europe. It wasn't always in the USA back then. The Olympias would be held in Europe at different times. And I don't think the Miss Olympia got packaged into this Olympia weekend until it was like toward the mid to late 90s, when the Miss Olympia, they were losing a lot of fans, and they couldn't get the sponsors. They couldn't sell out the venues anymore. And the only way to save the Miss Olympia was to hold it with the Mr. Olympia, just consolidate everything. But those days, it was completely separate prior to that, and it did very well on its own. Female bodybuilding had a huge, huge fan base. David, I'm a divided Nick fan, but you're right. I'm a pure Greek mass guy, and Nick fits that bill, but I'm a realist. I know they just want Nick's quad sweep bigger. Yeah, I mean, quad sweep is so critical. I sound like a broken record every time I talk to Giles. One thing I'm always looking for more of with guys who don't have it is more quad sweep, because it adds so much to a physique. These guys all have tremendously wide shoulders and upper backs, right? And theoretically small waists. That's the V, but you want an X frame. So what's an X look like? It's like this: wide up top, little in the middle, and then wide quads. So a sweep, the more those quads sweep, the greater that illusion is. So you want that round sweep, like Jay Cutler, incredible quad sweep on Jay. Even Ronnie had really great quad sweep. Phil had great quad sweep. It just adds a whole other dimension to the overall shape that you're looking at. And shape is very important. Everything's important. You can't really be lacking too much in any one area. If you're lacking too much in either size, conditioning, shape, structure, well, if you're lacking too much, you're never going to get to this level, period. But there are levels to these genetics. There are levels and levels and levels where when we're talking about these top 5, 6 guys, most of them are at a much higher level genetically than, the average pro who's probably never going to be at the Olympia stage. They're even genetically superior usually to the guys who are in like the bottom 10. The top 10 guys, yeah, they all work very, very hard, but typically the genetic elite of the elite do rise to the top. A little more. Mark agreed. Freak mask guy, man. Yeah, I know what you meant. Hey, Branch. Oh, Branch is gone. I don't know what he wanted. A branch emoji. He usually comes up when he has to pee. It stopped raining. He already peed once. Paul, I hate to say this, but you think the wars over there will make Hadi play slower? No. Nope. No. The one thing I'm totally staying away from, and I think you understand, is this whole war and political situation. You do have a lot of competitors from the Middle East, from places like Egypt, which is Muslim countries. And obviously, we know where they stand on the issue. We don't have a bunch of Israeli, but, we do have supporters of both sides who will be at the show. But we really need to do our best, and I think everyone is doing their best, to leave politics out. This is a sporting competition. It's athletics. Politics should have nothing to do with what's going on this weekend. And I do not think Hadi is going to be penalized in any way for the fact that he's from Iran. It's wouldn't matter. Just it's we're looking at physiques. We're not honestly. I think like politically, if decisions were based on things like who's from a country we like, who's best for the sport, who's going to be the best ambassador, they never would have let Hadi win. Never. Like in the old days, Hadi would never have won. Doesn't speak English, hearing impaired. Doesn't look like Brad Pitt in the face. Not that marketable looking. From a country that the U.S. does not get along well with and has not got along with since 1979 when the Shah was deposed and the fundamentalists took over with Ayatollah Khomeini. So yeah, I don't think that's going to play in it at all. I really don't. Jen, Brett and Nathan probably will be in Romania. Well, Brett's out, Jen. Brett's out. But Nathan, I don't think I can confirm it. I haven't been given the go-ahead. But let's just say there's a very strong chance Nathan will be competing in Romania. I believe Barus Tabani, who is a great bodybuilder out of Iran, could not get his visa for this show. I believe he will be heading to Romania. In the Prague show, I think Nathan will do. If I was Nathan, I would do both shows because he couldn't get to the Olympia. He couldn't get into the U.S. He got to the airport, and that's as far as he got. So he should do both of those shows. I think Krizo is going to do Prague. He won that last year. So yeah. How's the leg doing? It's doing much better. Thank you, William. Appreciate you asking. Actually started a very little light, limited range of motion, which is all I have now. A little light leg training this past weekend. Nothing crazy at all. Trust me. Nothing crazy at all. Like just pushing a couple of plates on a selector stack leg press just to get start to get a little bit of strength. I did a couple sets of leg curls. It was good to just get a little bit of work in. I got a long road to go though. The new emojis, what'd you say? The new emoji streamer doesn't show the image. Oh. The YouTube chat can see the new one. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't see it on StreamYard. For instance, Ron, how do you say Theo's last name? Lucaria. I don't see how it can be Lou if it's L-E. I didn't take French. I say this all the time. If I saw that and I was doing my best, because I'm pretty good at pronouncing things, just because I was always good at imitating people. So I could say it right after him. If he said Lucaria, it's probably 50 ways to pronounce that name. Greg Ulysse, pro from Montreal, Canada. What's up, Ron? When do you arrive in Orlando? I get in Wednesday afternoon. My daughter's coming up on the train from Miami, so going to get dinner with my daughter. I think she's going to stay over and go to the press conference with me. So Groove Baby, my daughter Marisa, she'll be there for one day. I wouldn't ask her. She's got to get back to her job and everything after that, but I wouldn't ask her to hang around the whole weekend. It's she doesn't have a ticket or a press pass anyway. But it's funny. My daughter Marisa, she's actually been to a pro show. She went with me to the 2013 New York Pro, which was Big Rami's pro debut that he won. So yeah, she's been around this. She's 29, but she's been around. I've been working in the industry her whole life, so this is all very, very familiar to her. She actually competed in bikini once. It was 11 years ago. More? 2012? Yeah, that was 2012. She did a bikini show. Big Nick fan, but I do also agree his lack of quad sweep is hurting tremendously, although he wins several other shots, in my opinion. He has some of the best, most quality. Yeah, Nick looks, Nick's legs, he posts up, we see videos and like Machiavelli motivation. Crazy legs, man. So thick. Especially when they show him from the side doing things like squats or squat machines, leg presses. So thick and dense, great gnarly detail, great legs. It's just that sweep, which leads me to believe that quad sweep is like 99% genetic. Like he could probably get it better and better, but I don't think he's ever going to have that really freaky like Rami quad sweep. Or for those of you who think Rami's quads are all oil, Jay Cutler quad sweep. I mean, even in my heyday, I had great quad sweep. It made my legs look a lot bigger. I could be standing next to a guy who, by the tape measure, probably had a good 2 or 3 inches quad thigh size on me, mass-wise, around. But they didn't have any sweep, so my quads actually looked bigger. It's just like anything, shape. Like if you have two guys, let's say two guys both have a 20-inch arm, but one guy, no peak, just a blob, no detail, just flat, no sweep. Thick joints. That's guy number one. Guy number two with a 20-inch arm. Little joints. Peaked biceps with a split in them. Triceps with a split. A sweep. Nice round-looking arm. That arm is going to look a lot bigger, even though they both measure exactly 20 inches. It's illusions. It's so many levels to these illusions. When I showed Samson versus Nick to my girl, mom both said Samson lost. Well, I mean, if you're going by like the freak factor, it doesn't get much freakier than Nick Walker. It really doesn't. He's a mutant. I feel bad because Nick gave me a shirt at the Arnold after the meet and greet was over. His parents are, I love his parents, very cool people, Lou and Tracy. And gave me a shirt and it says mutant. And I don't wear it like on these shows because, High Tech is our sponsor. I'm not going to wear it for Mutants. Mutants is a sponsor of MD too, but High Tech sponsors our contest coverage, which we're very grateful for. Because it really is nothing like going to the shows and being there. It's a whole other. We do cover a lot of shows remotely now, but I always prefer, if I can, to be there. It's just a whole different atmosphere, and I like seeing the shows live and in person. Different, you get a whole different sense and appreciation for physiques. But yeah, I see what you're saying. If you're showing two people, who wins, and one guy's just freak, yeah, bodybuilding's about freaky muscles, right? Jen says, Derek's made incredible progress this year. He's laser focused. Yeah, that's the thing is, I don't know if Hadi's gotten any better. Hadi's already I think he's maxed out. He's, it's not that he's like an old man or anything, but he's been doing this a very long time where Derek in 2017 was a light heavy. Derek was competing at like 195. The year before that, he was a welterweight. He was like 182 pounds or something. And now he's like 235 pounds and he's improved. It's not just about the scale, I know, but he's improved a lot. Whereas by the time Derek turned pro, Hadi was already in his first pro season and he was already doing very, very well. And he looked very close to the way he looks now. He hasn't really changed much. Whereas Derek from 2017 to now, vast improvements. What I'm saying is Derek's still at that part of his career where his physique is getting better. He's still growing. He still obviously has more muscle maturity that he needs to gain. And that comes through time. Just time, years and years of hard training. So every year he's going to have more and more of that quality to his physique. Whereas Hadi's already had it for a long time. And I don't know how much more detailed and mature and seasoned and grainy looking Hadi can get. I think he's maxed out. He looks amazing. I just don't know if he can look any better. So if two guys are very close and one improves and the other stays the same, I have a feeling the guy who's improved is probably going to win. But, we'll see. We're going to find out in a few days. Your mom, girl, that was solely a freak show. Yeah, I mean, most people have no idea how to judge bodybuilding. They don't. I mean, I'm going to get some Sam Sulek fans mad. I have nothing against Sam Sulek, guys, by the way. I've been called a Sam hater. I don't like the fact that most of his fans are very, very young because he's huge on TikTok, which is all young kids. And it's not his fault, but when you have a bunch of young kids, even though he's not coming out and saying, I use steroids, you should use steroids, he's never done that. But when you get a lot of young kids looking and seeing this other guy who's not that much older than them, he's 21, they can still relate to him. They want to look like that. They want to look like that, and they're going to figure out trends, GH, steroids are going to make me look like, drugs are going to make me look like that. They're going to want to get on drugs. Where the hell was I going with that? Oh, so one of his fans, this is just, they're so young and they're so ignorant of how bodybuilding is judged. One of them said NGL, which I guess means not going to lie. If Sam was competing this year in the Classic Physique Olympia, he would beat Bumstead and Ramon. And I was like, wow, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, which it was probably like a 13, 14-year-old kid making that statement who's never seen a competition, has no idea how they're judged. They just see the guy that they idolize and they think he's awesome. So yeah, when you show pictures to people who have they don't have an eye for these physiques, they don't know what judges are looking for with the criteria. Yeah, the natural inclination for someone who doesn't know any better is like, well, that guy is freakier. He looks crazy. Yeah, there's your winner. So doesn't make them wrong. It's just they don't have any idea. Derek, Samson, Hadi, Nick. Okay. Yeah, could go that way too. Krizo is confirmed. Akash Mohapatra. I think you mean for Prague, yeah. Why wouldn't he? I think, isn't that his sponsor, EVLS, the same company? And he lives in Slovakia, which is Slovakia used to be part of Czechoslovakia. So this is Czech Republic. It's probably like a 2-hour drive away or something for him. I don't think he would even need to get on a plane for this show. And he won it last year, so why wouldn't he want to defend his title? Jen says, Prague show is the same weekend as my 16th anniversary. Yep, then don't cover it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we have a show every weekend, Jen, it's like it's always going to be like somebody's birthday or something. I know it's only us, but Yeah. We shouldn't cover it. Well, we'll talk about that later, Jen. Yeah. But yeah, Giles is going to be there. She says, Giles will be, yeah. Giles can handle it. Giles is going to be there. Yeah, Giles is going to be doing the commentary for the Prague show, if you guys didn't know that. He does a really good job commentating on the live streams. He's done Romania before. I think he's done the Spain show, one of the Spain shows before. The promoters over there know he's really, really great resource. And, we're fortunate because he can, when he's done with that work, he can do stuff for us too while he's there. It's on site. He's there. He saw these people in person. Diehard Nick fan. Hope he gets it. Yeah. And he's lucky to have, all these guys are lucky to have really dedicated fans. Because like I said, it's not a sport that's as financially rewarding as a lot of other sports. And these guys deserve our respect, our appreciation. They work so hard for very little money compared to other sports. And, let's be real. They're putting their health at risk with the things that they have to do to look this way. The training isn't easy. The dieting is definitely not easy. So they all deserve to have a lot of fans. Anthony Sizemore, truth and conditioning from the Sauce Boss Ross. Potential top 12. Yeah, I wouldn't say Ross can't make top 12. I don't see him in top 10, but for sure he could be in that 10 to 15 spot. Why not? Ron, you're truly a legend in the world of bodybuilding. Oh, thank you. I mean, legend in my own mind. I've been around a long time. I have a hard time taking compliments. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, I've been around a long time. Sometimes when I think about all the people that were in the industry, in the media side of it, when I started out, it makes me sad because a lot of them are dead now. A lot of them have just passed away, or they're retired and they're enjoying retirement. I was 21 years old when I started working in this business full time back in 1991. And 91 was my first Olympia, my first pro Ironman. Yeah, that was the year I started working in the coverage side of it. We were covering the shows for ESPN at the time. So it's been a long ride. 1991. Wow. Built to laugh. Where did you see Breon placing classic? Dude's looking more conditioned. Yeah, again, if you haven't watched it yet, you probably haven't because it just came on this channel. I just did a interview with Breon a few days ago, and we talked about a lot of things. Check that out. But Breon, I could see Breon. I don't know if he can beat Bumstead. I'm just being real. I don't know if anyone can beat Bumstead at this point, but Breon with this extra weight, he is rounder and fuller looking. I wouldn't be overly surprised. I could see him doing as well as second. I don't see him beating Bumstead. Bumstead's he's tough, man. He's tough. But I could see him being second, but definitely top 5. He's never been out of the top 5. As I said with Breon on the show, his first Classic Week Olympia was 2016, which was the first year it was held. Danny Hester won, and Breon was 4th. And he was the champion the next 2 years in a row, 2017 and 18. 2019, second. Anyway, last year was 4th, and he's never been any lower than that. Breon, the branch used to go to the bathroom. Has Urs still got Marcus Rule in his corner? Don't know. Lee Haney 5'11", Dorian Yates 5'10", Ray Cohn 5'11", best brother ever. Phil Heath shorty 5'9". It's not that. I mean, for bodybuilding, 5'9" is not short. It's not. In real, even in America, that's average height. Average is not short. So this is weird thing now where we don't have average anymore. It's extreme. You're either considered rich or poor, short or tall, handsome or ugly. It's like there's no average. There's no in between. We've lost the ability to define anything as less than the superlatives, the best or the worst. I don't know why that is. I want to know Jen's picks before I sign off. Jen, you want to give your picks? Top 6? Oh, she did it already. There you go. She's got 5, Nick, 4, Brandon, 3, Sims, 2, Hadi, Derek. Yeah, I could. That's very, very close to mine. I think like Nick and Brandon could flip flop. I don't know which way those two are going to go, but that's the exact top 3 that I have. Yeah, Jen gave it 6. I'm going to Creaso. Oh, I got to give. What about Andrew Jack? You forgot Andrew. Jack fans are going to kill you. They're going to call you a hater. Brandon way too high. Well, we'll see, Paul. Like I said, let's give him. He hasn't been lower than 4th. Paul. I don't know why people write him off. Don't sleep on Brandon. Don't sleep on Nick either. Don't sleep on anybody. You go potty again, Branch? Hang on. Women's bodybuilding. Dave, that is going to be Wednesday. Buff Bombshell is going to be doing the whole women's preview. I was just focusing on the Mr. Olympia for this. Yeah. Brandon's made amazing improvements to be a threat. Jen's to be on the mic. She's the Robin Cripps, Howard Stern. Oh, I don't want to bother because we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes now. Really want Samson for her speak. She also has Brandon placed fourth, which is wild. Well, Paulie was fourth last year. Why is it so wild? What is so wild about that? And he was second place the 2 years before that. And he was the winner the year before that. I really don't know why you find it so hard to believe he can do that well. I mean, I think you're really, really writing him off. Watch me on Giles Thompson, Giles and Jen. There you go. There you go. There's your chance. Yes, leave politics on the door. It's about physiques. Agreed. Thank you for compliment, Paul Bartlett. Think of Horse MD's recent guest posing. Didn't see it. Sorry. Theo Guerrier. I can't see these emojis. I'm just seeing like the text versions of them. Black Kaiser, you probably want to ask a coach, but most athletes do cut. They don't cut the pre-workouts unless there's like sugar in it, but they do cut the shakes and they go to straight food the last like 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, say that for Dr. T. You are a legend. Oh, thank you, Mark. Agree. You're on as a legend. Legend with a dog that needs to pee, I think. Brianna has an interview here. Please check that out, guys. Pro Bible is the toughest sport. I think so. I think it's 24/7. It's very demanding. Every morsel of food that goes in these people's mouths has to be accounted for. Training, cardio, sleep, supplements, PEDs. It's a lot that goes into it. Sean Preen's death. Yeah, Sean Preen. I never got to know him that well, unfortunately. But everyone that knew him said what a great guy he was. Sean Preen. Rest in peace. Hunter and Aaron going to battle hard for 7th. I think Creaswell has the edge. Just looks totally freaky. Nick comes in 5th. There better be a doctor in the record. He's going to stroke out. He will not accept 5th well. Well, you have to believe you're going to win. You have to. Otherwise, how can you train? How can you train as hard as possible? Diet so strictly. You have to have that tunnel vision, focus, and belief in yourself. It's not a team sport. If you don't believe in yourself, it doesn't matter who else does or doesn't. You have to believe in yourself. So Nick has to believe he can win, or else he's not going to do what he needs to do. Who's Jen? Jen is the COO, Chief Operating Officer of the parent company of all this, Advanced Research Media. I have the title of online editor, but we really kind of share the duties on that. So she's really the co-online editor. She has several other titles, job titles. She does quite a bit, put it that way. Let's just say that without Jen, none of this would work. We'd have a really, really tough time. So Jen's a very, very critical part of this MD machine that we have. Thank you, Black Kaiser. I love Black Kaiser from the movie Polar. Jen, nice to meet you. All right, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. COOs, okay. I mean, that's a good one. Chief Operating Officer. Yeah, that's a good one, too. So, yeah, that's it, guys. So I don't think I'm going to go live again before you see me Thursday night with Jose Raymond in Orlando at the Meet the Olympians. Full schedule at MrOlympia.com. Tons of other stuff on this channel. Check out, please, the interview with Breon Ansley. It's up there right now. It just went up a couple hours ago. We've got a great Mr. Olympia preview that I did with Giles for the MD Power Hour. A great 212 and Classic preview I did with Jose Raymond. That's also up on this channel. All kinds of stuff coming this week. So check it all out. That's it. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe, notifications, do all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys so much. And I'm going to end the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.